To start this tutorial, the first thing we'll do is go to the Shanks tab and use the curve command. In the command panel, we'll set the region to USA, choose a ring size of 6.5, and then accept. Next, we'll go to the Diamonds tab and use Gem Studio. We'll change the gemstone shape to cushion, then set its size to 1 carat. To add it, we'll use the Add by Point option. At this point, it's important to have OSNAP enabled. To make positioning easier, we'll change the alignment option to QLET in the command settings. Now we'll position the gemstone at the top of the curve. As you can see, the mid-guide appears. We click once, right-click to finish, and then simply accept the command to create the gemstone. Now the gemstone is in place. Using the gumball, we'll move the gem up by 1.65 millimeters to finish positioning it correctly. Next, we'll create a halo setting for this gemstone. To do that, we select the gem and, in the same Diamonds tab, use the Halo command. Without selecting any presets, we click Edit and adjust the parameters. For the width, we'll use 1.70 millimeters, and for the height, we'll increase it to 5.30 millimeters, so the halo sits fairly high. Then we'll reduce the gem spacing and set it to 0.2 millimeters, so the halo doesn't become too wide. Everything else can remain unchanged. Now we'll switch to the Central Gem tab and adjust the gem size to 1.40. We'll increase the minimum distance to 0.45 and reduce the inner width to 0.4 millimeters. After that, we'll go to the Cutters mode and activate both options, V-Cutters and Boolean. This last option allows us to preview the cutter's result directly. In the cutter's parameters, we'll reduce the start width to 0.85 millimeters. We'll leave the V-Cutter's parameters at their default values. Since we don't need prongs holding the central gemstone, we'll go to the Prongs tab and disable them. Now we can accept the command and create the halo. Next, we'll continue with the creation of the shank. From the front view, we'll activate wireframe mode, go to the Curve tab, and use the Point command to add a point at the top of the curve. Then we right-click to repeat the command and add another point at the bottom. These points will serve as references for shaping the curvature of the shank. We'll move the lower point down by -1.7 millimeters and move the upper point up by 3 millimeters. Once we have these reference points, we'll go to the Circle submenu and create a curve by diameter. We select the lower point and extend it up to the upper point. Now we have our reference curve, and we can return to the perspective view. We select both curves and extrude them while holding Shift, so the extrusion goes in both directions. There's no exact distance here. It just needs to extend past the halo on both sides and a bit further. That's perfect. Now we'll go to the right view and use the Line command to create a line starting from the lower point, and activate Grid Snap. We'll count 1 and 2 grid squares below the last curve along the central axis. We move 1 square to the left and click to place the point. Then, going up toward the gemstone as reference, we count 2 squares upward and 3 to the left. Click again, and now we have our line. Next, we'll adjust the top point of this line. We'll turn off Grid Snap, select the curve, then select its upper point. We'll move this point slightly further to the left without reaching the center of the grid square, roughly around here. I'll move this curve to another layer so it's easier to see. Now we'll create another line. We select the existing one, hold Alt, and click on the gumball arrow. We type 1.6, and we can see a copy has been created. Then we select both curves and go to the Transform tab to use Mirror. We type 0 and press Enter to define the center point, then hold Shift and click upward. Now the curves appear on the opposite side. With the curves ready, we go to the Solid tab and use the Cut command. As shown in the command bar, Rhino asks us to select a curve. We select the curve on the far left, Right-click to confirm, then select the solid and right-click again. That part is now cut. Next, we select the solid and the curve on the right and use trim to remove the right side. If we show all views, we can see the solid is now open, but that's not a problem. We select it and use the cap command. Now we have the base of our ring. Next, we'll create a line with grid snap that cuts through the solid and the curves along the central axis. We select the inner curves, the new line, and the solid, then use trim. We remove the section inside the reference lines, clicking until both sides are cut. Now we can see the inner portion has been removed. We have the base, but it's still open. Holding Ctrl and Shift, we select this edge and this edge, go to the Surface tab, and create a loft. We accept. Then repeat the same process on the other side. If one of the lofts appears flipped, that's fine. We simply select the surfaces and the solid, click Join, and everything aligns correctly. To close the remaining openings, we select the solid, go to the Solid tab, and use Cap. The geometry closes automatically. Now we have our shank base fully created. Next, we'll add gemstones to the shank. We go to the Curve tab and use Duplicate Edge, selecting one of the inner edges. Since earlier we offset the cutting lines by 1.6 millimeters, we know that half of this distance is 0.8. Using the gumball, we move the duplicated edge 0.8 millimeters to place it at the center of the surface. To add the gemstones, we go back to the Diamonds tab and use Gems by Curve. We select the curve, add it to the command, and assign the surface to orient the gems. Now we can adjust the position of the gems using the gumball, positioning them to our taste, while leaving enough space from the halo. Then we adjust the parameters. We'll set the gem distance to 0.3 millimeters, leave the rest of the parameters as default, and change the vertical alignment to top. I'll slightly reduce the usable curve length so we end up with 6 gemstones in total, then accept the command. Now we'll use micro setting. We select all the gemstones in order and pass them to the command. We adjust the parameters. To avoid intersections with the shank, we need to shorten the cutters, so we'll set the length to 2.7 millimeters and the width to 0.75 millimeters. We'll also add V-cutters and set their length to 2.40 millimeters. Next, we activate the channel. For the channel, we'll set the width to 0.65 millimeters, creating a narrow rail. Now we'll extend the ends. We'll use flip end and flip start, extending the channel without letting it pass beyond the V-cutter. To refine it further, we'll activate flatten. Once everything looks correct, we simply accept. Now the gemstones and cutters on the shank are perfectly created. Next, we select the cutters and the shank gemstones. To select the gems, we can type Cell Mesh in the command bar, then hold Ctrl to deselect the halo gems. To create the remaining gemstones and cutters on the opposite side, we go to the Transform tab and use Mirror Quad. Everything is now positioned correctly. The only thing left is to subtract the cutters from the solid. To make this easier, I'll type Cell Curve in the command bar. Move all curves to a different layer and hide them. I'll also hide the halo by selecting it and typing hide. We'll type cell mesh again and hide the gemstones. Now we go to the Solid tab and use Boolean difference. We select the solid and right-click, set delete inputs to yes and delete cutters to yes, then select the cutters and right-click again. The Boolean is done. Now we can show the gemstones and the halo by typing show. We're almost finished. Next, we'll reduce the weight of the halo to decrease the amount of metal used. To do that, we go to the Curve tab and use Offset on Surface. We select the lower edge of the halo and make sure the arrows point outward. If not, we use Flip in the command bar. We enter a value of 1 millimeter. Then we go to the Solid tab and use Push and Pull. We select the inner area created by the offset. To make this easier, we switch to the front view and optionally change the display mode to wireframe. We push the surface inward until it almost reaches the gemstone area, as shown in the video. Before continuing, we'll split the shank using the halo. For this, we go to the Solid tab and use Boolean difference. We select the shank, right-click, then select the halo. We make sure the delete input option is disabled. Next, we show the curves again, and in the outliner, click Cut by ring size to trim the halo to the ring size. If the ring curve was accidentally deleted, we can simply go back to the Shanks tab, recreate the same ring size curve, and cut the halo again. We'll use the ring curve to hollow out the halo even more. We select it, go to the Curve tab, and use Offset. From the front view, we create an offset of 1 millimeter outward and move it to a different layer for clarity. Then we create another offset from this curve. This time 1.5 millimeters. And also move it to another layer. Now we have two curves. We select both and extrude them while holding Shift until they extend beyond the halo. From the front view, we'll create reference lines. We turn off Grid Snap and draw a line that follows the inner direction of the halo, making sure it crosses the halo completely from top to bottom. Once it's done, we go to the Transform tab, use Mirror, type 0 to define the center, hold Shift, and click upward to create the line on the other side. We select both lines, click Trim, and then trim the extrusion we created. If needed, we can switch to shaded mode to see it more clearly. As we can see, the solid is now open. We select it, go to the Solid tab, and use Cap to close it. Now we only need to select the halo, use Boolean difference, and then select the solid we just created. The final step is adding one last detail. We select the central gemstone, go to the Diamonds tab, and this time use the Basket command. We edit it without selecting any preset. First, we disable both rails, change the prong mode to claw, and then adjust the parameters. We'll set the diameter to 1 millimeter, the height to around 1.5 millimeters, and set gem inside to 0.15. We choose straight prongs, and now the model is completely finished. All that's left is to create a beautiful render to show it to our clients. We'll leave a reference render, but don't hesitate to send us yours.